everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, right? You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Yeah. And what we're going to be talking about today is something that I have known about for quite some time, but apparently not a lot of people know about this. And I think I talked about this back in September. But I'll talk about it again, but I'll go into more detail about it. And what this is about is how they want us to start registering our gardens. And it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hang on. Don't think so. And a community member, she's a wise ass. She's like me. And she said, you know, let's start planting our gardens. And when we do, plant your seeds to, you know, in letter form. So when they start to bloom and they do like a drone or anything or Google Earth, and you'll see words, you know, start to, it's like, what do you want to do? FJB? I mean, come on. Wise asses. I swear I have the greatest community. But anyway, so I'm going to talk more about what's going on and what they want us to do. I do know that, you know, if your garden is used for educational purposes, like mine is, okay, they want you to register your garden. So this was brought out September 9th of this year. And it's the U.S. Department of Agriculture is expanding its People's Garden initiative to include eligible gardens nationwide. It's schools, gardens, community gardens, urban farms, small-scale agricultural projects in rural, suburban, and urban areas, and they can be recognized as a people's garden. Okay, so like if you're like me, okay, and you garden and you take your camera outside and you make videos, okay, and you say, see, this is what I do, how I do it, so you can learn from me and yada, yada, yada. Well, my garden is now considered a people's garden because you are learning from me on how to do things, okay? And I would technically have to register my garden on the USDA website, and I have to meet criteria, including benefiting the community, working collaboratively, incorporating conservation practices, and educating the public, which I do. I educate people on how to garden. Especially now when I'm doing like hydroponics and things like that. So now affiliate people's gardens locations will be indicated on a map on the USDA website. And this is going to be featured in USDA communications and provide with a people's garden sign. So like they could put my address on their website, and I could have a people's garden sign on my lawn, which, nay, I don't want that. So I really have to be careful now. You know, they said, you know, we welcome gardens nationwide to join us in the People's Garden effort and all it represents. Local gardens across the country share USDA goals of building more diversified and resilient local food systems, empowering communities to come together around expanding access to healthy food, addressing climate change, and advancing equity. Okay, well, that's great and all, but if my garden becomes a people's garden, then that means that anyone can walk up into my shite and steal what I literally put blood, sweat, and tears into. I don't think so. You know, I grow food for my family so my family can eat. So this is going to be very difficult. So I think now there's no way that I can bring all of my fruit trees into my house, so that's going to be fair game. But I I don't think I can, do like the greenhouses anymore because I'm too afraid that if they find out, that type of thing. So it's going to be hydroponics, and that's that from now on because it can stay in the house. So, so now about these gardens, okay? The USDA, they originally launched the People's Garden Initiative in 2009. It's named for the People's Department, for former President Abraham Lincoln's nickname for the USDA, which was established during his presidency in 1862. And the People's Garden grow, fresh, healthy foods, support resilient local food systems, teach people how to garden using conservation practices, nurture habitat for pollinators, wildlife, and create green space for neighbors. And that's where I get concerned. Why? Because I have taught each one of my neighbors how to garden. We have even gotten into the habit of exchanging seeds. I do a lot of seed starters for my neighbors. We exchange plants. I have met up with my neighbors at like Home Depot and Lowe's and helped them pick out, their trees and things like that. And I've helped them, pick out, the soils and the manures and the fertilizers and what would work best for them and their lifestyle and things like that. So, this is where it gets very hinky, especially for me. So the Secretary Vilsack added that we encourage existing gardens and new gardens to join the movement. Okay, I'm not joining anything because I know what this flippin' agenda is going to lead to. It's going to lead to you guys coming up into my property and taking what you want and leaving my family with nothing. So I don't know. You can't pull the wool over these eyes. You can't do it. I don't care how pretty you make it seem. It's not ever going to happen. So you go over there. You know what? I want you to become elbow deep in cow manure like I do, and sow those seeds like I do, and grow food like I do, and plant trees like I do, okay? That's when you can talk to me. All right? When you spend the kind of money like I do to make sure that my family has fresh produce, that's when you can speak. So, and it goes on to say, growing local food benefits local communities in so many ways. We offer technical resources to help. No, you don't. You just want to make sure that you can get your grubby hands on my fresh fruit. No. They said also it's a great way to connect with your local USDA members. Blow it. Yeah, how to register. You want to hear this? Okay, so to learn more about People's Garden or to register one, visit the People's Garden webpage at usda.gov/peoples-garden. The location and information on each garden will be displayed on the map. You're not putting my address on a map and putting a pretty little sign on my front lawn that I pay a lot of money for to look pretty. Get away from me, okay? I put a lot of time, my own time, into making everything look perfect around here. Stay away from me. And the USDA will send a People's Garden sign to each garden and invite continued engagement through photos and information and sharing. You You think you're going to take pictures? What you think you're going to get me to stand next to my garden and go, look at what I've done. I'm going to no. And gardens on federal property, such as USDA offices, are required to donate produce. Yeah, donate to their own bellies, huh? But we invite these gardens to report how much is being donated. Stick it. And now they're saying to be eligible, gardens benefit the community by providing food, green space, wildlife habitat, and education space. Shit. Our collaborative effort. This can include groups working together with USDA agencies, food banks, after-school programs, Girl Scouts, master gardeners, conservation districts, etc. Incorporate conservation management practices such as using native plant species, rain barrels, integrated pest management, and xeriscaping. XERISCAPING. Educate the public. Yeah. About sustainable gardening practices and the importance of local, diverse, and resilient food systems providing healthy food for the community. I'm screwed, man. New gardens will join the People's Garden at USDA headquarters in Washington, D.C., and 17 other flagship garden establishments earlier this year. And then it goes on to say the People's Garden Initiative is part of the USDA's broader efforts to advance equity, support local and regional food systems and access to food, and encourage use of conservation and climate smart practices. The USDA touches the lives of all Americans each day. No, you don't. In so many positive ways. Under the Biden-Harris administration. I'm sorry. I can't. All right. Shut up. All right. So the USDA is transforming America's food system with a greater focus on more resilient local and oh shit, I can't even speak without laughing. Local and regional food production, fairer markets for all producers, ensuring access to safe, healthy, and nutritious food in all communities, building new markets and streams of income for farmers and producers using climate-smart food, forestry practices, making historic investments in infrastructure and clean energy capabilities in rural America, committing to equity across the department by removing systemic barriers to building a workforce more representative of America. Okay. I'm sorry, but I can't. I can't. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. You wanna know why? Because I spend so much of my days outside, regardless if it's 100 degrees or 70 degrees outside, to make sure that my fruit trees, everything grow perfectly. And and every year I add and I add and I add. And now that I started the air layering, that's a way of me being able to continue to add to my fruit trees and my property and my sustainability for my family without having to constantly buy new trees. I'm growing trees from my trees, if that makes sense. So it's like my grapevines are 3 years old, and from year one they've been producing the most delicious grapes ever. Even my blackberry bushes, they they're 3 years old as well. And we get an amazing amount of blackberries every single year too. My sour sops, they're my 3 of my sour sops, they're not even a year old, and they're already producing fruit. So, you know, and that would not be possible if I were not as, vigilant and caring as I am with my trees and all of my crops, like I am. So for them to say that, they want me to register, no, I'm not registering anything that has to do with my gardening. It'll never happen, So don't fall for this, guys. Okay, please don't. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.